Tonight, a story of faith over fear.
We want to bring you up to speed on the progress of a teenager from Newcastle. Thousands of Oklahomans, perhaps you and even people from around the world, have been praying for him.
His name is Caleb Freeman. He's 16 years old, and we've been following his journey for about 4 months now.
Just a few days before Christmas, he was involved in a terrible car crash that left him with a traumatic brain injury.
We know many of you are following along as well on Facebook. His page, Pray for Caleb, has more than 50,000 followers, an army of prayer warriors.
Here's what's happened. Caleb's family recently invited News 4's Allie Meyer to join them in Denver to document Caleb's progress in a growing list of unlikely accomplishments.
It was just before sundown. It was just starting to get dark. It was raining out.
Young galloping in. Nice find in Latin, who punches one home.
Caleb and Clayton Freeman were on their way to an OU basketball game a week before Christmas. Caleb's pickup spun out of control on I-35.
His vehicle lost control.
Alex Stout was behind the wheel of his big rig hauling a full load, full speed.
I knew I couldn't stop.
The semi tore into the boy's truck, T-boned at Caleb's door.
I thought he was dead.
There's 3 marks right there, and that's where it was.
Brad Frakes pulled Clayton from the passenger seat, the younger brother unscathed.
I didn't know what was happening. I was scared. I didn't know really what to think.
A first glimpse at the toll of impact. Caleb was unconscious, racked by the force of the collision. His brain scrambled inside his skull.
The phone rang and I saw Caleb's number or name, and so I answered it, and then there was this man on the other end, very frantic, and that, I'll never forget that.
Brad had also been on his way to the OU game that night. He stopped to help, called the boy's parents, and tried to disguise the panic in his own voice.
I seen Caleb that night. I seen what kind of condition he was in.
A nurse really pulled me to the side, and I said, I need you to level with me. I said, tell me, you just got to tell me the truth. And she said, sir, we need a miracle. And at that moment, that's when my heart dropped.
And in that moment, they started to pray that the God of miracles would move a mountain for their son.
Even when she said, we need a miracle, inside of my heart, I said, we're gonna get a miracle. I believe that.
Jeremy's a pastor. He and Emily are part of a family of believers who puts God's promise to the test.
I'd be lying if I said there weren't times I didn't doubt that, because your humanity gets in there and you look at your son and you think, okay, if he does wake up, what's he going to be like? What's going to be there?
And for weeks, Caleb didn't wake up. He laid in the ICU, comatose, paralyzed, wavering between life and death. You see, his brain had been so rattled by the impact of the wreck, it had stopped running his body. 90% of patients with this type of traumatic brain injury never wake up. A month after the crash, air ambulance flew Caleb to Denver's Craig Hospital for specialized treatment.
And so the Freemans decided Denver, Colorado is where Caleb would have the best chance at healing. They moved Caleb and they moved their entire family.
Caleb has 5 brothers and sisters, and they all came. They moved from Newcastle, Oklahoma to stand with Big Brother and help him heal.
I'd do anything to be with Caleb and be with my family, so it was the best decision for Caleb. I'll go. No hesitation.
Healing is slow and uncertain. A full month had passed at Craig without any significant improvement. And so their army of prayer warriors got louder. And Caleb woke up. The family said, but God.
Shake your head, yes.
Then, a sign Caleb was in there. And the family said, but God.
As long as he has the will, there's going to be a way.
Nearly 3 months after the crash, still speechless, Caleb wrote his own name. And they said, but God.
So that was kind of the first day that I really started to think, this is going to change a lot.
And then the floodgates open, and he started to speak. Through it all, the Freemans found comfort and community on Facebook. Their page, Pray for Caleb, grew to 50,000 followers. Friends and strangers faithfully praying for their son.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight.
That's one of the heroes from the night of the wreck, Brad Frakes. He recommitted his life to Christ because of Caleb, stepping out in faith to pray before a crowd of people a few weeks ago.
I pray for the safety of the fighters. I pray for the safety of everyone's trip on the way home.
Today is what day?
Wednesday, April
2018. Yep,
Back at Craig Hospital now, Caleb is rebuilding the areas of his brain devoted to communication. That mess of neurons severed in the wreck, rerouting around broken pathways and firing once again.
Caleb is unique in that he's making a lot of progress very quickly.
The same thing is happening in the gym, where Clayton and Brittany, Audrey, little Luke and Addie come every day.
Once things started clicking, it's like they haven't stopped clicking. So
it's amazing to see the progress that he's making and how God is working in his life.
He has climbed a mountain, and yet somehow Caleb's gaining momentum going uphill.
He's so motivated and he works so hard. And we say, do you want to stop or are you tired? And he's like, I'm tired, but I'm not going to stop,
going.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Supernatural determination. Caleb believes his strength is not his own.
It's only God and no one else. All the healing is because of Him, and all the progress too is because of God. And He's been with me through. Without Him, I wouldn't be alive.
Caleb's speech is coming back now. He is fighting hard for his words, every strained syllable. A battle line drawn in a war he refuses to lose. Every day, they see more Caleb in his eyes.
I do think that there will be some things that are different about him, but he's still Caleb, and I'm encouraged by that.
Encouragement that stretches the globe. Everyone's got their eye on this kid, watching faith conquer fear.
Hey, buddy.
When Brad Frakes pulled over that night, he had no idea his journey might take him to Craig Hospital in Denver.
Wow. Did you drive all the way up here?
Yeah, we did.
He drove 9 hours from Purcell, Oklahoma to surprise Caleb and his family. A witness to the horror of that night, he wanted to see the wonder of healing as well.
I gotta hug this guy because I've never met him. All I remember is your voice on the other line of the man.
I actually do remember you.
Oh, he said thank you for driving all the way.
Thank you for driving all the way here.
You're welcome, Caleb.
He wanted to meet the young man so steady in his conviction, softening hearts around the world. Would you change anything about that day that the wreck happened?
No, I wouldn't change anything because it's a God's plan, and I would never change that.
For years, Caleb Freeman has been sharing his heart, his faith, a talented distance runner known for spreading the gospel on the trails. And while his circumstances are profoundly changed, his purpose is not. Allie Meyer, Oklahoma's News 4.
Wow. You may have noticed Caleb was wearing casts on his legs. Well, those casts were helping him recover from a tendon surgery in his legs. We are happy to report those casts are off now.
And another miracle. Caleb is expected to be released from the hospital next month in May.
Now.